Hello, Iris Zero here. Hope you're all well. I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. So, for a while now, probably years at this point, I've always had this dumb thought in my head. And I thought I'd just put it out there because I tried kind of looking it up, talking to people, and whenever I do, it like everyone just looks at me like I'm stupid, but maybe I am. I just thought I'd put this out there. So, I'm a big fan of accents. All right, I love hearing them. I love trying to copy accents, no matter where they're from, different countries, different counties here in Ireland. And one thing has always kind of got to me. If you're in Ireland, just like in most countries, when you hear people speak, when you hear their accent, you can kind of tell where they're from, whether it's here in Limerick, Cork, Dublin. Particular Dublin, I think, is like the strongest accent in Ireland, next to the uh, Northern Irish accent. So you can kind of tell where people are from, and this goes to other languages as well. So if you hear Spanish, two people talking Spanish, it kind of sounds. I mean, to the untrained ear, would say, it kind of sounds the same, but they could be from two different countries, and they can tell the difference on which country they're from. So you kind of you have an idea where it goes. Same with like French, but if you have people with all these from all these different countries, when they speak English, they kind of all sound the same. Now, I don't mean that in any offensive way, but I mean there is like the French accent, and every experience I've had with French people when they speak English, depending on their level of English and their experience with English, they kind of all sound the same. I can't tell a difference if the French person speaking English is from Paris, from the countryside of France, or is from whatever town. I can't tell the difference. It all kind of sounds the same, whether it's German as well, and so on and so on. So, okay, so you can get an idea on what I'm kind of talking about. Now, in Ireland, predominantly we speak English. Now, apparently, I think it's a million people, 1.7 million people, I think was said on that one Google result I looked up when I said how many people can speak Irish. 1.7 million can speak Irish. I can't, unfortunately. I should, probably won't, but I should learn how to speak Irish. Anyway, uh, and so, but like predominantly everyone in Ireland speaks English, and that's kind of like our main language. Whether or not you want to consider it our first language, it's up to debate. It all depends who you ask. Um, but generally, they speak English, and probably most Irish people speak English first. But I've always been curious. What if we didn't speak English at all? What if you got someone who only spoke Irish, was only exposed to Irish, and then later in life learned English? Would their accent still sound the same? Like someone in Dublin, they only spoke, like typical Dublin accent is it's like, where's you guys going? You know what I mean? We're going down the road. If that person had been speaking Irish their entire life, then learned English, would they still have that accent, or would it be something completely different? And so, what I'm curious about is what would that accent sound like? Would it still sound exactly like that? Would their English be as clear? Well, some Irish accents have a clear, you can understand what they're saying quite clearly. Uh, but yeah, I've always thought, what will that Irish accent sound like? Would people from Limerick still sound the same? Cork, whatever. Um, and I've been trying to figure out what would it sound like. Now, it'll most likely sound like a country accent, like go down the field, go down the field. It probably sound like that, like really fast. You can't really understand what they're saying. Um, at least that's what I assume. I would actually love to find someone who has only been exposed to Irish and learned English later in life and find out what do they sound like. Now, maybe if I go to these different Irish communities, or Gaeltachts, the fact that I don't even know what they're called is kind of sad. And try to find people that have only been speaking English for a couple of years and see what it's like. Again, I've been thinking about this for absolutely years, and I can't figure out what that accent would sound like. Again, probably the bogger. That's an Irish word. Probably like a bogger country accent. I'm guessing. That's what I'm guessing, but then it could sound completely different. And also, can people who speak predominantly Irish, what I like to know is, can they tell the difference if they were speaking, if someone from Dublin who spoke Irish, whether it's only Irish or not, if they spoke to someone from Limerick or Galway, could they tell the difference, uh, like with the Irish accent? Like with Irish, can they tell the difference who's wherever they're from? Again, something I've been thinking about, running through my head, a dumb thought, one of many dumb thoughts actually. I should probably do videos about those later. But for now, I'll just see how this goes, see if there's any reaction, if anyone even cares. So that's it. Just thought I'd get this out after many, many years. So until next time, whenever that is, I'd say to y'all, have a good one.